Hello everyone, this video is about the flight, fight, freeze or fawn. In the 1920s, a psychologist named Walter Cannon described what he called the acute stress response, fight or flight. Over the years, this has continued to be studied. If your subconscious believes you can conquer the danger, your body jumps into fight mode. If your subconscious believes there's no hope, it might jump to runaway mode. If you think you cannot win by fight or flight, you might freeze. And then if those three don't work, or your body just judges your subconscious, think straight away fawn. And you'll find the best way to protect yourself is then just to go along with it and try and win over the person who's trying to abuse you. When you've left a narcissist, a lot of those around you that haven't experienced it might not understand or might question why you didn't leave sooner. You may still be questioning yourself and their response isn't helping. You may still be feeling fear, shame, alienation, rage, grief, depression and anxiety, as well as the manipulation that you receive from the narcissist. It's so well hidden, and because it's such a slow process becoming more and more regular, you don't often see what's happening until you have got into this fight, flight, fawn mode, or you're still just full of self-doubt. I do have some videos on the manipulations that a narcissist uses. You may now have CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. This is an attachment disorder. It is a psychological disorder which can happen to a child. It can happen to yourself as an adult if you've been exposed to repeated interpersonal trauma. After a narcissist relationship, the triggers can easily arise from flashbacks to a noise that triggers you. Human basic biology needs for safety and security, and if it feels compromised because either spiritually, physically, emotionally, or even sexual abuse, this forces your inner defense mechanism to find a way to escape what is happening to you, to avoid the situation that's happening around you and control it within yourself. When people who haven't suffered the manipulation trauma, they don't always understand it or put themselves in your shoes to try and understand it. When you've been repeatedly let down, ignored, made to think things that happened didn't, things that didn't happen did happen, not knowing what you've done wrong, words always twisted around to your fault, and so much more. As it's so slow and so underhand, with a sudden reappearance of the person you first met to then go back to all the mental abuse, people in this situation don't often see it until you've got that trauma bond. Even when you know that something's not quite right with the narcissist manipulation, you're still left thinking it's down to you, and you're probably full of self-doubt and you've not got your own self-worth, and you do believe it's all your fault. Your subconscious kicks in to protect yourself in the situations that the narcissist causes. You try certain things, as do children, to see if it works. If you got the attention you craved for by trying something, even for a short time, if it stopped the abuse for a while, it then slowly becomes a habit. And you might end up with a few, as there are so many things that a narcissist will do, that you do these things purely to protect yourself. You could respond to the stress in one or four ways: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. When we experience stress or trauma, our bodies automatically gravitate to one. If a car suddenly was coming towards you, you might think that you'd run, flight. Or you might actually just panic and stand still, freeze. Children that spend a lot of time around a narcissist will carry these into adulthood. If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, you may carry them with you for a while afterwards. You will have used one of these four, or sometimes all four, to protect yourself against the narcissist. When you carry them with you close to the surface for so long, it can cause problems within your life. These are learned behaviours from either growing up with a narcissist parent or having a relationship with a narcissist as an adult. What you did while you were with the narcissist is not weakness, and it's not a flaw within yourself. You did what you needed to do in order to survive. It was a survival instinct. The best news is, as it is learned behaviour, you can now unlearn it. Also, whatever your situation was and however you responded is no better or no worse than any other response. It was your subconscious making you unconsciously react this way, as you needed to protect yourself. And it's okay to sometimes escape. It's okay to zone out. It's okay to fight back. It's okay to try and be kinder. With a narcissist, you may have done all of these. Fight types of reactions, we are all capable of this. Our inner instinct is to protect ourselves. Narcissists are actually, I believe, driven by this, usually due to some form of childhood trauma. Narcissistic people are extremely self-centered with an exaggerated sense of self-importance. So, fight types: passive aggressive, controlling, aggressive, overly demanding, entitlement, nice then nasty, bullies, demands perfection, shames others, or just a psychopath. In the beginning, you might fight back, crying, you might feel like punching something, you might glare at the narcissist and talk angrily, you might feel like stomping, you'll feel intense anger. You were doing these things to protect yourself from any given situation you were in with the narcissist, which the narcissist will then use against you, so you believe they are correct when they tell you that you were in the wrong because you shouted at them or because you fought back. Flight types unconsciously believe that perfection will make them feel loved and safe. Flight means you try to outrun the trauma. You might be obsessive, you might be hyperactive, you might try running away, you might start hoarding things, you might become compulsive, you might start rushing around, you might panic, worry, you might suddenly be really driven, you might suddenly become a perfectionist. You want your routine. You need to get everything in order in your own head, so you need the routine to find the balance to try and counteract the situation that's happening around you. When you fly, your legs might be restless, feeling numb, constantly moving legs or feet, constantly cleaning. You're tense, you might feel trapped. The next one is freeze. The freeze types unconsciously disconnect to stop experience the pain. So you might disconnect from the situation, you might run away from other problems, you might isolate yourself, become a bit of a couch potato, you might be tired all the time, become a bit of a hermit, not wanting to go out anywhere, you might lack ambition, become a bit of a daydreamer. When you freeze, it's because you may have a sense of dread. You'll feel exhausted all the time and sick most of the time. You have trouble doing normal day-to-day things. Fawn, unconsciously seeking safety by meeting the narcissist's demands and needs. which is basically a one-sided relationship. You start people pleasing, you start over listening to what other people think and say about you. You might become a slave to other people, especially the narcissist. You lose your sense of self, self-love, self-trust, self-beliefs. You become a bit of a doormat. You might start groveling for forgiveness from the narcissist, and you may become a codependent. You might become compliant and helpful and try and meet every single one of the narcissist demands for fear of reaction. To recover from these, you do need to allow yourself time to grieve. You need to cry, scream, shout, let it out. A bit like the videos I've got on anxiety. You need to let it all out. Start reclaiming your assertiveness again. I do have a video on trauma bonding and how you can help yourself if you're looking for more information. You may be suffering with anxiety. I have a couple of videos on these and how you can help yourself recover. Mental disorders that are associated with childhood trauma from these responses, the fight type is usually narcissism, flight type, obsessive compulsive disorder, freeze type, dissociative disorder, and fawn type, codependency. So, those of you who question if you were the narcissist after the relationship, no. You have empathy, you cared, you tried to help. You just went into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode unconsciously to protect yourself. Now it's time to unlearn those that you taught yourself to use on a daily basis to protect yourself. And learn who you want to be again and what you do enjoy in life and what makes you happy, and just keep asking yourself, who am I? What do I want? What are my values? Please remember again, this is just advice. Just take from it what can help you. If you do like any of the videos, please subscribe. I'm trying to get as much information out there about narcissists, as much help out there for people to recover, and help out there for people that have children with the narcissist. Thank you for listening.